Am I the asshole for saying that my daughter inherits my house no matter what? I'm a single mom in my 50s with one daughter. I got very lucky in that I bought a home in the Bay Area nearly 30 years ago for around $230,000 before the tech boom, and now the house is worth about $1 million. I have a 23-year-old daughter Camila who grew up in that house, and she moved out last year to go live with her boyfriend. I've never explicitly told my daughter, the house will be yours, nor has she asked anything about it, but just sort of common sense, that's my daughter. Who else would I give it to? One important note, there are 2 homes in the neighborhood that are owned by lower middle class people, me and a neighbor who's been here as long as I have. Otherwise, our neighbors are engineers and software developers. The Bay Area is simply unaffordable if you're not in tech. My daughter is a hairstylist. My fiancé Stephen and I have been together for 2 years. He has 2 young children, elementary school, he has joint custody of who I adore and I'm excited to help raise them. Stephen and I don't have a ton in the bank, so a prenup seemed silly if it weren't for the house. I told him that I'm ready to combine finances and plan long-term with him, but I wanted a prenup agreement just for the house. It's a non-negotiable for me that my daughter inherits the house. He wasn't happy with this. He said that $1 million split 3 ways is enough for all 3 kids to get a head start in life. I disagree. I paid 80% of the mortgage by myself and Camila is my only child. She can have her dream life, working as a hairstylist, living in the Bay Area, with this house, but will be unhappy, have to move out to a less desirable area, if it's split. I spoke to Camila about this and she agrees that she should get the house and said she always planned on inheriting it, just like I always planned on giving it to her.
Not the asshole. You have been with this man 2 years and he is demanding that his kids receive an equal share of the home you paid for and raised your daughter in decades before he even existed for you? That's absurd. If you're going to marry this man and merge finances with him, you need to speak to an attorney first and make sure your wishes your home will be followed in the event that anything should happen. But first you should ask yourself, if you have to go to great lengths to protect your child from his greed and entitlement, if marriage and merging finances is something you really want to do with this person.
Not the asshole. The house was purchased 30 years ago, long before you met Stephen, and it is your separate property. I would not add him to your house deed. IANAL, but I certainly would consult an attorney versed in estate law. I have my eyebrows raised that a fiancé of 2 years thinks his 2 children should get an equal share of your house that is your separate property, and that you have paid the mortgage on for nearly 30 years. Please, protect yourself and contact an attorney.
I have lived in Bay Area. 1/3 of that house will not go far for giving Camila the future you and she want her to have. You are passing your good fortune, and hard work, onto your daughter. Makes perfect sense to me. Between Stephen and his ex, they have the right and responsibility to provide for their 2 children as best they can.
Not the asshole. That's your house. I think the prenup is a fantastic idea as it is your investment. You shouldn't risk losing it if things go south. I am just floored he thinks his kids are entitled to 2/3 of the value. WTFF?
Lady, you've been with that man all of 2 years. You better stop playing. This isn't even a question. That house belongs to you and should go to your daughter. All due respect, fuck them kids. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Why does he think his kids should get so much when it's your house? That's crazy to me. Proceed with caution.
NTA. Don't marry him if he refused to sign a prenup and get that desire in writing with your will, or he and his kids will have grounds to contest it later. Please don't marry without a prenup, and if you have to, make it a long engagement. Don't even set a date until he agrees and signs.
This guy is basically just paying rent and he wants to control 33% of your assets. Regardless of his intentions, that house is your property and a prenup is a reasonable request in this situation. Don't back down. At the end of the day, that house is for your daughter and you need to stand your ground. Not the asshole. Edit. So I heard he wants to give 2/3 RDS of Ops house to his own children and he doesn't get where you're coming from. Who even thinks like this?
Not the asshole. Please, please, please. 1. Do not give in on this. It's too important to let feelings get in the way. 2. Reconsider getting married. Really. This guy does not sound like a winner. 3. Go see a lawyer, yesterday. You need to be very careful to get this right, especially if you are determined to go through with marrying this dude.
Not the asshole. It's your house to do with as you please. But, if you are positive that you will not change your mind about this, you may want to consider putting the house into an irrevocable trust for your daughter. It would keep your house from going through probate and would keep it from being part of any challenges to your will or to the prenup. I'm not saying it's definitely be a better option for you, but it might be worth discussing with an attorney or financial planner.
Not the asshole. Your house. Premarital asset. Prenup good. Stephen may be entitled and I would not be thrilled with his attitude.
Not the asshole. I just want to know why he thinks he has any say in this. This seems like a real red flag. His children are elementary school aged. Your daughter is an adult. And that fact doesn't even matter. Your house, your decision. Please don't let this man tell you otherwise or guilt you to change your mind.
Not the asshole. Make sure to get a prenup. Also make sure you have a notarized will, that is stored somewhere only your daughter can access it. Even though you hopefully won't need it for a long time.
Your fiancé should be the one to plan on his kid's future, and not you. I think you are in the right to want a prenup so your daughter inherits the house. You might look into setting up a trust regarding the house rather than just a will.
Not the asshole. Agreed. Your daughter has every right to the house. His kids, his responsibility.
Not the asshole, but he is if he thinks anyone but your daughter should get it. Get a lawyer for this agreement for sure. In my state, a prenup is considered a private agreement between the couple, but it isn't necessarily enforceable under specific circumstances. Make sure he couldn't contest it successfully after your death. Edit. And I forgot to say that my state is a community property state, so the law says the minute we are married, everything I have is half my husband's and vice versa. Now by signing a prenup he is supposedly giving up that right, but if he changes his mind on down the road and has what the court considers a good reason for doing so, he might prevail. At least this is what my lawyer told me, as best I recall, when I got married the second time.
Not the asshole. A prenup is a smart idea, especially before you get married and combine finances.
My mother inherited a 50% share of a house in what became an exclusive area from her invalid aunt because she cared for her. She signed it over to her dad, who owned the other half. He eventually remarried. Her stepsister has bragged to me countless times about her gorgeous 3-story house on the water. My mother was never even welcome there after her dad died. Protect your kid, not the asshole flushed.
This guy sounds like a total gold digger. It is insane for him to think that his kids should get 2/3 of your net worth. You live in California, so it is crucial that you do not marry this man without a prenup. Also, keep your finances separate throughout the marriage. Also, consider just moving the house into a trust for your daughter right now. Not the asshole.
Definitely not the asshole. My ex-husband is remarried and I would not expect a penny of his current wife to go to my children. Your fiancé needs to realize this is your only child and his kids have another mom.
Fiancé. We've been dating for 15 minutes and are probably gonna get married soon. My kids, who are like 10, are gonna get 2/3 of the house that you've had for 30 years that I have contributed nothing to when you die, right? Location flag, 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 location flag. Not the asshole. And maybe employ a food taster.
Absolutely not the asshole. Go see a lawyer ASAP and make sure you protect your, and your daughter's, interest. Prenup. Will. Make sure your will is made in contemplation of your marriage. Otherwise any will you have prior to marriage will be invalidated once you marry. And think about transferring part of the home to your daughter. Depending on your circumstances, transferring the home to your daughter and registering a life lease, that you can remain in the home might be an option. A lawyer will give you all your options. What you don't want is a situation where you get married, pass away and your husband remarried and your daughter gets nothing.
Not the asshole at all. She is your kid and you provide for her above all else. The house is in your name and you want it going to your daughter. With or without a prenup, you should also put it in your will that it will explicitly go to your daughter.
Not the asshole. I ain't sayin' he's a gold digger, but he ain't messing with no broke Bay Area soccer mom.
Not the asshole. The house is yours. You have paid for it and taken care of it. I absolutely believe it should go to your daughter. It's not about the money, it is her childhood home. Not the asshole. It is literally your house and she is your daughter. It is no one's choice but yours.
He's a gold digger. Not the asshole.
Are you sure that this man is in this relationship for you and not for your home? Not the asshole, but please do not marry him until you have everything in writing from him.
Not the asshole. You bought the house and you have been the only one consistently paying towards it. I'm surprised your fiancé seems to not have that understanding, but I guess that's just my personality. Both my husband and I owned houses going into our marriage, and have decided to keep those separate. Also, I grew up in the Bay Area and understand the prices.
Not the asshole. Better that you're agreeing on this early because I doubt his kids would ever want to give up that option themselves despite not having contributed to it. And now you'll find out his real priorities in respecting the investment you made for your daughter.
You can leave the house to whomever you want to. It's your house, not the asshole.
Info. I hope this doesn't happen. Of course. But what if you pass while your husband and young stepchildren live there? It's your house. You can do as you please, but curious nonetheless.
Not the asshole. It's hilarious how people come into a marriage with kids and expect those kids to get what someone else worked for. Leave it to your daughter. Your fiancé has only been in your life for a minute. Not the asshole at all, though as a lawyer I'd suggest the prenup include every dollar you have. Community property states are a killer in divorce.
Not the asshole. That's entitlement right there. You made the investment. His kids have nothing to do with this house.
Not the asshole. If he want to leave something for his children, then he should have planned for that. Can't piggyback of you and your safety nets.
Gold digger. Why would you even marry such baggage?
Not the asshole. Good to get this in writing. It is your house, so you get to decide. End of story.
Not the asshole. Also, it'd be slightly worried that he's fighting so hard against it. Def. Not the asshole. Why does your significant other think his kids are even entitled your house you paid for? Dude can kick rocks.
Not the asshole. It's your house. Do what you want with it. That said, there are two things to consider. 1. This is going to expose differing priorities in your relationship, which is normal and healthy. It may mean your relationship ends, which might also be normal and healthy. Don't let him tell you a difference in priorities is automatically selfish. It's not. 2. Taxes. Can your daughter afford the taxes on her income? Even if she can't, she could sell the house, but still look into the numbers.
Not the asshole, but you need a lawyer, not Reddit. You want to make sure that your fiancé won't have a claim to the house by virtue of marriage, and that there is a mechanism to get him out when you die. No sense in your daughter owning the house if she can't live in it or sell it.
That is your house, not his children's house. Your daughter wants it as her future home. He wants it as a potential payout for his kids. Absolutely not the asshole. Not the asshole. Honestly, I would be concerned enough to not marry him.
Not the asshole. That's your house that you had long before your fiancé and his kids entered the picture. Yes, you guys love each other and all that crap, but let's be real, you have to do what is in the best interests of your finances and your daughter. Get the prenup.
Not the asshole. She's your only child. She deserves it. It's nice that you do help with his kids, but they do have a mom, right? It's her responsibility to support them, not yours.
Not the asshole. It's your house and your daughter's childhood home. Of course she should inherit it if that is what the both of you want.
Not the asshole, but now you have a glimpse of what's important to him, and I'd be very careful about moving forward with the relationship. Now is a great time to create a living trust for yourself that passes the house to her in the event of your death, so it can't be a legal headache later.
Info. Do you live in the house together? Is it paid off or will he be paying for it? If you combine taxes, how will you ensure that all home expenses, taxes, maintenance, etc., will fall to you?
NTA. Just make sure you have it in a up-to-date will. Otherwise, if you get married, it will pass to your husband estate first.